Something I've been thinking a lot about recently after starting to reread Game of Thrones is the choice the TV show made for Daenerys and Viserys not to have purple eyes, one of the key defining traits of Valyrians and thus a large majority of the Targaryens. Now, with the upcoming prequel show supposedly coming out in 2021 focusing on Targaryens, I started to ponder if House of the Dragon will take the same route as the main show, or they take this chance to have traditional looking Targaryens. Something to point out is traditionally Targaryens has hair ranging from silver to like platinum blonde hair and purple, violet, indigo kind of eyes. This is not the rule. There are exceptions of Targaryens having other colour hair such as brown and some having other colour eyes such as blue in the case of Alsyanna Targaryen. Something to consider is there's a lot of variation in the exact colours as well, ranging from more silver hair to more platinum blonde and a wide array of shades of purple of the eyes. Now, when I was looking into why the show chose not to have Daenerys' purple eyes, I discovered for a short while she actually did. In a few scenes in the pilot episode, Dany does actually have purple eyes. Emilia Clarke wore coloured contacts, however she found them very uncomfortable and it ultimately hindered her performance, so they scrapped them. They did have the option of using CGI to make her eyes purple, but unfortunately, with the much lower budget the first season of the show had, they could not afford to do this. And something else to consider is the task of making her eyes purple was not the actual challenge of this, but it was more of the cost and the sheer amount of time it would have taken to do this well for every scene Dany is in. It may have worked for a character with a smaller role, such as Viserys, but it would have been very odd for him to have purple eyes and Daenerys not. Now, for me, it does make sense in House of the Dragon to take the chance to have Valyrian traits, but whatever they do in the first season sets out what they will look like for the rest of the run of the show. In my opinion, it would make the Targaryen characters stand out much more against the rest of Westeros. If they do, for instance, cover Aegon's conquest, then having Aegon, Visenya and Rhaenys look pure Valyrian would give them more of a foreign look, make them stand out as more invaders in a foreign land. In lore, the look of Valyrians proves that they are more than just normal men. This is very important when it comes to King Jaehaerys' doctrine of exemptionalism, a key proclamation that allowed Targaryens the power to marry close family and rule the way they wanted to. Without it, events like the Faith Uprising would happen regularly. The look of Targaryens helped him legitimize their right to rule unquestioned. So it is actually more important than just an aesthetic thing, and could be quite key to the plot if, say, Jaehaerys does get covered. I think having the Valyrian look will also be important if the show ever does cover the Blackfire rebellions. Some of Aegon IV's baseborn children carried Valyrian traits, and in some ways this helped prove their Targaryen lineage. I also think Bitterstill's mix of purple eyes and black hair would make him very distinctive. Speaking of more aesthetic looks of Targaryens and Targaryen bastards, I think if the show does get as far as the Blackfires, and characters like Brendan Rivers do pose a bit of a problem, and choices are going to have to be made by the producers. For example, Brendan Rivers, aka Bloodraven's red eyes, are a very distinctive part of his character, and in the Game of Thrones TV show, he's already been shown with non-red eyes. I even think that some have actually made arguments that Bloodraven in the show is not Brendan Rivers, and hence why he's missing the birthmark, missing the red eyes. But I think that's beside the point. If they did intend to make him the same character in lore, they would have to make a choice to keep the eye colour already established in the show, or make changes in lore. In a way, this kind of reflects the issue of Targaryens having Valyrian traits when Viserys and Daenerys were missing the purple eyes. Would it be a little bit weird now to suddenly have them? I don't know the answers to this, but I think it may confuse viewers not familiar with the more deep lore of the books. Having Valyrian traits might also be a helpful tool to show lineage in House of the Dragon, if it does cover, say, the Dancer Dragons. For example, it could be used as a way to show the dragon seeds are Targaryen bastards more effectively than just stating it. It would also make the difference between Rhaenyra's children and that of Aegon stand out more, and give more legitimacy Rhaenyra's children, in fact not descended from both House Velaryon and House Targaryen, but were bastards of House Strong. This would help form more of an argument for Aegon's claim. To me, having lore-accurate Targaryens makes sense, but there are still problems with this. Some same factors that stop the main show from doing this. Now, it might be the case that all the actors involved are happy to wear coloured contact, in which case this won't be an issue. But if they are not, this is where issues begin. Now, the main show did have a lower budget when they made the call to have Dany with green eyes, and House of the Dragon will have a much bigger budget than the first season of Game of Thrones. But the main show show only had 2 Targaryens to deal with. Imagine having to CGI eyes of nearly all your main cast. Would I like to see lore-friendly eyes in House of the Dragon? Of course I would. I love lore. But just like the main show, if it's not doable, then I don't think it will really negatively impact my viewing of it. It would be more of a nice little bonus for people like us who enjoy more deep lore of the world. It's not necessarily vital. I think at the end of the day, whatever way this goes, it's going to be down to a production standpoint and not necessarily a storytelling one, even though I think I've laid out some interesting ways it could be implemented into the story and how to bolster it. So what do you think they will do with the Valyrian features in House of the Dragon? And does it really matter to you what the outcome actually is, as long as we still get a quality TV show at the end of the day?